when you play the system with
the new 7800.
Nice graphics. I'd like to get my hands on that game.
It's the video game years coming at you with 1986. The systems, the culture, the games. A skateboarding title thrashes arcades.
This is the game that taught Tony Hawk how to skateboard.
Namco calls down the thunder.
Ninjas, mutated bats, panthers, lava men.
And Sega goes masterful.
Its legacy is far beyond that of just Japan and the United States.
Plus, monsters destroy the US, and a janitor saves the galaxy. So flap your arms to fly, and buckle up for safety. Strap in for 1986.
There's a good chance that if you've ever played any sort of breakout type game, you've actually been playing Arkanoid.
It's simply a Super Breakout clone, but it adds on to what Super Breakout was able to create, or Breakout for that matter.
Power-ups. That's right. Not only are you just a paddle that's bouncing a ball around to knock out the bricks, but now you're rewarded with different power-ups.
Multi-ball, like in pinball, there was like a sticky pong paddle mode where you could like make the ball stick there and then you could shoot it wherever you wanted to. And there was even a laser one.
Breaking blocks, you get split ball, okay, larger ship, all right, that's fine. Oh, gun! Yeah!
One of Arkanoid's claims to fame is the varied layouts of all the stages. Different designs, they're not just, you know, a layer of horizontal bricks.
You were able to have blocks that required multiple hits, block patterns that created different shapes and different figures.
The layouts were pictures, like there was one that was a Space Invader.
Everyone takes a different strategy. Sure. Yes, at the end of the day, it's still a Twitch game, but some of the levels you have to be more precise and you really want it to go up top so that you can work your way down.
But one of the things I always found a little weird about it, there's a story to this game.
It's a pong paddle, but they say it's a ship, and you're escaping from the mothership Arkanoid, and your ship is called the Voss. I don't know.
The arcade cabinet had a wonderful weighted spinner, similar to that, but very heavy, smooth fluid, constant 360-degree motion, which let you move your paddle back and forth with really like nice precision.
How can you not love this game? Seriously, I have tons of memories of playing it in the arcade back when I was a kid.
It's the Valve's controller. And on the NES version of Arkanoid, they actually were cool enough to include the spinner controller. And it was the only game that you could use it for, unfortunately, an analog controller on the NES. And that's where a lot of people played it too.
The improvement over Breakout. Took them long enough to come out with it, so damn well better be.
Gumshoe is a light gun game that used the Nintendo Zapper, and I love it.
Gumshoe, or when Zapper games go horribly, horribly wrong.
Your main character's name is Mr. Stevenson. And the thing about Mr. Stevenson is because you're not using a controller, he continuously moves to the right and the jumping can only take place when you shoot him.
Here's the kicker though. You're defending your Gumshoe by shooting the objects coming at him on the screen.
It actually gets quite challenging. It's really cool because it's unique and a different way to use that NES Zapper.
This makes rational sense. You shoot your Gumshoe with a gun to make him jump through the air. That makes perfect sense. And then, hey, I need more bullets. How to get more bullets? Wow, you just go into red balloons and increase your ammo.
It's still memorable to this day. It's still fun to play. It's difficult, but it's a game that you know, rewards accuracy and timing.
It's impossible. Can't stand Gumshoe.
I think it's fantastic.
Jackal, also known as Top Gunner, when it was released in North America for the arcades, was another run-and-gun game by Konami.
Top Gunner. They were 3 letters away getting sued by Tom Cruise there.
Instead of being just a main character on screen, shooting everything from a top-down view, you're actually playing as a Jeep.
and it's the Jackal Force, which is a team of 4 soldiers, and you're driving this Jeep around, you're firing at enemies.
And what's interesting is that you can strafe using the machine gun, because the machine gun will always just shoot straight ahead, north. It won't change direction with you, only the grenades or missiles will.
The goal of the game was to rescue POWs and then bring them to a location so they could be taken by helicopter to safety.
The more risk you took to get POWs, the more reward you'd get later.
It's fun kind of fighting over who's gonna save the prisoners. You know, when you got 2 Jeeps at the same time. I'm gonna save those guys. Nope, get out of the way, I'm gonna save those guys.
One hit, you're dead in Jackal. And even if you're getting shot by the cute little guys that you run over, the cute little soldiers, you're still dead. So you always have to be careful and on your toes, especially with the bosses that are firing lots and lots of bullets at you.
Now, eventually this game was ported over to the Nintendo Entertainment System, where they switched the name back to Jackal.
Jackal's great. It's fun in the arcade, really popular on the NES.
Definitely a fun game. Definitely worth checking out.
Sega challenges you with the ultimate video game, the Sega Master System. With more accurate control, more detailed graphics, more levels of play. Awesome! The Sega Master System comes with power-based 2 control pads, light phaser, and 2 great video games, Hang On and Safari Hunt. Gotcha! And with other games like Rambo, Outrun, and Choplifter, the excitement never stops. The Sega Master System. The challenge will always be there.
Sega released the Sega Master System in the US, but it was known as the Sega Mark III in Japan.
Mark III meaning it was the 3rd pretty quick attempt by Sega to create a successful home console.
The Sega Master System, we really get kind of like the first competition in this new generation of home console wars. And you know what? It's a fantastic little system that never really got its due.
I gotta imagine that only the weird kids had this. You know, these are the kind of weird kids that would have a TurboGrafx 16 in the early 90s, right?
The reason I chose the Sega Master System over the Nintendo was because
You're delirious.
No, because I really liked the Sega games in the arcade.
So you had ports like Outrun would come out on this. You had Fantasy Zone. You'd have your Shinobis on here.
This made the Sega Master System essentially the arcade system.
The control pads kind of sucked though.
Yeah, they were a little lacking with that little control, cord coming out the side.
Yeah, it came out the side. They did change it so it comes out the top in the later revision.
They did.
You can't pause on the controller.
There's no start button or select button on the Master System controller. You gotta go to the system and hit the pause button on it.
From a technical standpoint, the Master System was superior to the NES.
It could do a lot of things that the NES had to have special chips inside the cartridge to do.
They had 3D glasses. And you know what? It worked.
Let's face it. Pretty much all Master System box art is crap.
My favorite is pro wrestling with a wrestler holding his whole own head in his arms.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's funny.
You look at the NES games, it's very visual, and it tells you what's happening in that game.
You have no possible way of knowing what the game's about. None.
Stop damaging my games.
The pack-in game for the Master System, when it first was released in 1986, was actually, a twofer. It was Hang On and Safari Hunt.
Safari Hunt, which, while not as good as Duck Hunt, at least got you a chance to use the phaser.
Safari Hunt is so much better than Duck Hunt. Way better.
Safari Hunt was a light gun game that used Sonic's light phaser to shoot animals.
Who doesn't like shooting monkeys with a gun?
I like it.
I like this better than the NES Zapper.
There was a built-in game on a lot of Master Systems. It's called Snail Maze. Some people just call it the Snail game, but it's called Snail Maze. And basically, I think you hold up on the controller and press buttons 1 and 2 in the BIOS screen, and a little Snail Maze comes in.
Snail Maze is exactly what it sounds like. It's a timed maze game where you move a snail through the maze.
The unfortunate part about the Sega Master System, though, is because Nintendo had an illegal stranglehold on third-party publishers, most of the games in the US, all 114 of them, were just Sega first-party games and, arcade ports.
Sega only managed to get 2 third-party developers, Activision and Parker Brothers.
Unfortunately, you didn't have like a Mega Man game coming out on the Master System in the US. You didn't have games like Ninja Gaiden, so that's what really hurt the Master System, which is a shame because this is a fun little console.
The Master System, its legacy is far beyond that of just Japan and the United States.
In Europe, it was huge and bigger than the NES, and in South America, particularly Brazil, it was enormous.
They reminisce on the Sega Master System, much like that of how we reminisce of in the United States on the NES.
That's respectable. Come on.
It's a moment in time for Sega and a moment in time for the video gaming world in the late 80s that you got to see this difference in styles, but also a progression of where gaming was going.
And now, it should have been a video game in 1986.
Oh, hello, I'm Eric, and here's the stuff from 1986 that should have been made into a video game, but wasn't. In movies, Top Gun for the Sega Master System. Not the silly F-14 Tomcat fighter game, but playing with the boys, volleyball. No flying boring jets around, it's all about the volleyball. And bodies working overtime. Ferris Bueller's Day Off for the NES. Race through your neighbor's yards, jump over fences, and avoid obstacles while racing to beat your parents home without getting caught. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while. You could miss it. Chicka-chicka, bomp, bomp. Oh yeah. In music, you gotta Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys. In this NES beat-em-up, you take on the man as they try and make you go to school, take away your smokes, your best porno mag, make you change your clothes and cut your hair. You gotta fight for your right to party. Perfect Strangers for the Sega Master System. In this series of minigames, Balki Bartokomos and Larry Appleton perform duties for Ritz discount shop owner, Mr. Twinkasetti, try to pick up women at a singles bar, and get Balki his driver's license. But would it be fun? Of course not, don't be ridiculous. And that's what should have been a video game in 1986. And I want to play them.